Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Ryanico's World. So it's been some time. I want to say close to a week. Been lazy. I've just been going to sleep late because I needed to make a little extra money with Liv. So I worked a little later and just tired. I tried to do the 6 o'clock to wake up. I felt like a zombie. I could not get up. So it was crazy. So I did a little different strategy, which was, well, why don't I put my alarm to 7:30? Let me start out like I did before, little by little, baby steps. Let me wake up at 7:30 and try to wake up by 7:45 after I do a couple snoozes. So it seemed like it worked because I'm up right now and it's 8:30 right now. So by the time I get dressed and get my coffee going, get everything ready, stretch for the day, brush my teeth, all the good stuff, it takes about an hour or 40 minutes to an hour. So I'm excited because I accomplished a small goal and I put my camera or my microphone a little better. I was testing it the other day, playing with my son with it, and he was playing with it. So it was pretty fun. So I think it works good, and I think I might leave it there or leave it here. So we'll see. We got a lot of talks I want to give, or a lot of I guess true stories because they actually happened. So not like make-believe stories, but live stories, if you will. And we will get to some news today. My family now, we all kind of wake up later now. So before it was about 9 o'clock. Now it's close to 10 that we wake up. And like I said, I just woke up at 7:30 today. So that was a struggle, but I did it. So I have about an hour to talk and before my wife and our two little boys wake up. So want to do that. But I'll start with live stories as much as I can today because I have a lot of live stories. I've been writing them down and I don't have the sheet with me. I have to go and get it here real quick. But once I get that real quick, I will start with the stories. But I have it from the other book that I stopped using like a good month ago. Close to a month ago, and I'm almost done with this. And then I have my green book that I have a page, close to a page and a half. It's kind of this size, so it's not like a whole 8 by 11 notebook, but it's a page and a half, and like every other line is an event or a story. So I was looking at them earlier and want to share them with you guys because crazy things, and just life happens. And I want to share the stories. Obviously, I'm anonymous. I don't mention any names, but just a true story aspect of it to explain to you guys that life happens. And I want to share those so everyone can understand and everyone can feel, hey, maybe I might be going through the same thing. But it comes down to loving one another. It's crazy. It's just simple as that. And it's crazy. And we don't do it. We don't do those simple things. And unfortunately, I mention these stories from a negative aspect because it's just, that's the way of the world. There's so many negative things going on in the world. So, when we see these things, hopefully we can say, you know what, I want to do better. So, cheers to you guys in the morning. And let's say a prayer. Morning offering. Oh my God, I offer you all my prayers, works, and sufferings in union with the Sacred Heart of Jesus for the intentions for which he pleads and offers himself in the holy sacrifice of the Mass. In thanksgiving, your favors, in reparation for my offenses, and in humble supplication for my temporal and eternal welfare, for the conversion of sinners, and for the relief of the poor souls in purgatory. I wish to gain all the indulgences attached to the prayers I shall say and to the good works I shall perform this day. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back with the book. Shoom. I'm back and I got the book here. So I'm gonna talk about this, but first we have to finish the book here. The black book here. We did a whole page of it. I need a pen, but I'll get the pen in a second because I got one. Alright, so and I'm doing a little bit different because of time's sake, but normally I talk about the news from a Catholic agency or a Catholic newspaper, and then I call the Apple News that is on your Apple phone, and then when you swipe to the left, basically, and then I like to talk about news from the Epoch Times. I think they are very neutral. Sometimes they talk good things about Trump, some things they talk bad things about Trump, so that's a good measure, because right now it's either love Trump or hate Trump. And I like how they, hold everyone's feet to the fire. And that's good. Every news outlet should do that. So we will see how that works. But like I said, I like to use the Epoch Times because it seems like they are neutral. And that's a good point, especially right now. So, all right. But first, just because I have a lot of Lyft stories to talk about, I'm going to talk about the Lyft stories first. And we will start here. So, Uber and Lyft Cali. Aha! So, man, it's been a while, at least like 3 weeks ago, that Lyft they were going to appeal to not have their workers set up as employees, because apparently the law in California right now is stating that they have to make their workers as employees, W-2 employees instead of your 1099 contractors. And basically Lyft is saying, okay, well, if you make us do that, we'll leave. We'll get out of California. So it's pretty crazy. And they have until the end of the year. And during that time, they're allowed to still have their workers as 1099. So they have a little wiggle room right now, a little buffer until that happens. But they already put their statement, their position where they stand on. So it's crazy how that happens. And then Uber and Lyft as well. My perspective on that is like I kind of like it, kind of don't. So for instance, you actually make more money as a contractor because you have more power, you have more just control over your schedule. So I like that part. But at the same time, everything that Lyft is telling you that you look up online, how much they charge per passenger, is false. It mentioned about 90 cents on the dollar, or 90 cents per mile that it charges. It's almost $2 a mile. But they switch it sometimes, depending on the day. So they get an average of that. But an average Joe here is going to see more than likely $2 a mile. I've been doing it full time, and this is what I'm seeing on the ground, essentially. So I don't like how they are falsifying that type of information, because it's just a huge company that took everything into one place. They should do even state by state. I mean, it's a data company, right? So they got to have the data, so there shouldn't be no excuse for that. But when that happens, they just don't care about it. They just put 90 cents and it looks good. And sometimes during the day when there's no high demand, maybe you will get it. Or if there's high demand, they will get double that. But like I said, what I've seen here is close to $1.60 to $2 a mile that they charge, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's crazy. So that part of it they're doing. Also, for the Lyft car rental, which I have a rental through them. They have and this is only 1 year ago, a year and almost 14 months. So a year and 2 months. when I started this full time with the car rental. And before, or at that time, they had it set up where you were almost like part of a group, like a cool group separate from the other Lyft drivers that have their own vehicle. And they have about, 4 weeks. So it's guaranteed 4 weeks. Every week, if you get 110 rides, you will get 149, 150 bucks. And it's about 200 at that time. It was close to $200 for the rental a week. So they advertise that you can offset that cost. So 180 or 150, but it actually went up to 180. It was like 179. So it was 150, and then you get another like 30 bucks. But I forgot how it's set up because it's been a while. But it was basically about 180 that you would get overall for the week. So it was 2 tiers of bonuses that you had, and it added up to about 180. So you have that, and then $200 minus 180 is 20 bucks a week overall, and that was the guarantee amount that you got. And so 20 bucks times 4 weeks, that's 80 bucks a week for a rental that they take care of your maintenance. They take care of your insurance. All you have to do is pay for the gas. And, if you get in an accident, you got to pay at least $1,000 at the most. At the most. It's a good bet. I'm like, okay, I'm not paying no premiums, nothing. And I get it. If I get in an accident, it makes sense. I should pay at least $1,000. And if it's not your fault, once they investigate it, they will actually give you the money back if there's any money to be received or something, or if it's not your fault, essentially. So that worked good. I'm like, okay, I did the math. That makes sense. I don't have to use my own vehicle. That's good. So I did it up until from August, about July-ish to the new year of 2020. So about 5 or 6 months I was able to do that. And then by the new year, they brought up a new system or a new policy they had changed. And by the new year, it was the policy or the charge was going to be a little bit more. So it's not $200 after tax. It's about $220, and that's per week. And then also they have the people who have the rental is going to cost close to what? Yeah, it was close to $230. I'm trying to think here. And then with the rental, they also were going to change the miles as well. So instead of 400 miles of personal miles, it was going to switch down to 2. They changed the plan essentially. And also with the group that they put you in, so if you get 110 rides, you get close to $180. Well, they switched that. Now we're all together. So whatever, there is no perks or anything that they advertise. So whatever rides we get, we are in the platform of your regular Lyft driver that has their own vehicle, and they don't have guaranteed bonuses. It comes based on demand, aka they control it. So that was a big difference. And I thought about leaving Lyft because I'm like, wow. So I did the math, and I'm okay, I'm losing money, but what can I do? There's nothing I can do. It's just I have to roll with the punches. And they even said in the advertising that you will also get bonuses, but it's not guaranteed. So I'm like, okay. And I even talked to a person. I'm like, well, you get close to that $180 bonuses. So, yeah, you should be able to get that. It's been, 8 months right now? Almost, it's been on the 9th month right now in the year 2020. Right now, it's between 1 to 2 weeks you would get a $150 bonus in the week of every month. So what I mean by that is out of the month where I normally get that $180 guaranteed, if I get 110 rides, which I do it full time, and I got it every single time, so it's manageable, it's attainable. Now from the beginning of 2020 to probably before pandemic, I would get it almost 2 weeks out of the month instead of every week out of the month. So it's half of it. And then from April to now, it's been averaging only once a month. It's crazy. So they're slowly changing or slowly offering less and less bonus opportunities. And they lowered the miles, the personal miles, from 400 to 200. And the price is going higher. Now it's $234 after tax a week. So you're not even getting, so 200 times 4 is 800 at $34 a week. So that's 120-ish. So close to $900. And I'm only getting about $300. So $600 a month for this rental. So, and 600 divided by 4, I don't know what that is. But, I mean, $600 a month is a lot. And again, it may be even more because, again, right now it's only 1 month. So I only get $150 out of the $900. That's $650 or $750. Yeah, $750 is. So that's the crazy part about it, is they're slowly changing where it's not to the benefit of the driver. And we are already on a contract, so we're not employees yet, or as of now. So if you want to talk about mistreating, because that's the other side that people talked about, well, if they become employees, then they'll dictate the hours, they'll dictate your pay, and they might not give you enough hours, or they might give you under 30 hours, so you can't be classified as a full-time employee, so you won't be able to get benefits. So what you're saying is they're crapping on us. What's the difference between that and what they're doing now as us being contractors right now? So bottom line is they still have power over us. They still have control over us. The only difference is the time. We make our own schedule. But as my brother-in-law would say, don't get it twisted. Don't get it confused. They can take advantage of us, and they are taking advantage of us. If you know any basic math or arithmetic, you can see that they're taking advantage of us. And you can't do anything. And don't even get me started on the percentage of the fare that we get. So again, you can look online, and I've done it already, and it shows that at least, for the passengers, about 90 cents to $1, but a lot of times 90 cents per mile, which is false. Is more like $1.60 to $2 a mile. And a lot of times here in the smaller town, it's $2 a mile. And then they have people who, when they go into, hold on one second. When they have people with their percentages that they have. So before, it was, when I started about a year ago, it was close to 65-35. So we would get 65%, 60 to 65%, and Lyft would get 30 to 35, or 35 to 40%. So basically, for every dollar that they charged the passenger, we would get about 60 to 65 cents, and they would get 35 to 30. Depending on, or 35 to 40%, or 35 to 40 cents. So that's how it was about a year ago. Fast forward just 1 year till now, it's flipped. I kid you not. It's a fare of 7 something for, like, literally if you go a mile, because that's the minimum that they charge. And I get $3. Double that, so half of that is 6, and they charge the people 7. So you do the math. It's a little less than half that I get. And I've been averaging it every day. I've been asking passengers. So I'm just curious, because I have a lot of regulars, a lot of passengers who are regulars, and they're so nice to me, and they feel comfortable telling me how much they pay. And I just ask. It's very simple. And we're like, wow, I only get this much. And they're like, wow, I did not. A lot of them tell me they didn't even think about how much I got paid from. They just thought I got paid most of it from the dollar amount that they get charged. That's not the case. So right now, they are screwing us already. So they don't need to make us a full-time employee or a W-2 employee to screw us, because they are already. And that's what's bad about their formula. Like, yeah, you made $1 billion, a couple $1 billion, and you made a couple millionaires out of this whole scheme of things, of this whole idea of Lyft and Uber. Yeah, there were probably about a handful of millionaires that were created from this. But it was not made to make money how they had it set up. They already are getting a lot of profits, and the margin is so small. If I remember correctly, they still even haven't gotten a profit yet. And if they have, it's been maybe the first year. But I don't want to say it. Someone was calling. But so yeah, and that's what's crazy about it. If they go through the motions and they realize, hey, we don't have enough. So I get it as a business professional. I get that their formula wasn't made for a full-time employee. But at the same time, it wasn't made to be profitable either. So sooner or later, investors are going to ask for money. And yes, you can say the example, well, Amazon wasn't profitable for so many years, almost a decade or so. And look at them. I get it, but we'll see. We'll see. That's why they are tightening their stance on California, because they really don't have enough money. And it's crazy to think that $1 billion company, they don't have enough money for having an employee, and they act like being an employee of Lyft is the weirdest thing. Corporate America employs people. Small business owners employs people. Your mom and pop shop employs people. I don't get it, how it's just weird for them to do it. The only difference is we make our schedule. That's the only difference. But we are already getting screwed on the percentages. We're already getting screwed on if you get a rental. We're already getting screwed on any other perks that we get, because of diminishing within a year, it was a greatly diminished. Just imagine if next year or 2 years from now. So I think they know what's going to happen. That's why they can't even afford to have an employee status. And that's wrong as a company. If you want to talk about their own corporate responsibility, that is wrong. And like I said, it looks like they just don't care about the workers. That's really what it is. I don't want to invest money into employees, because they don't care about us. We don't care about them. Almost majority of people, except for me, a majority of people, especially the ones that are not in the car rental program, they go Lyft and Uber. They go back and forth. So there's no brand commitment. There's no loyalty from contractor to into the company. It's just not. So they probably know that. So that's why they don't want to invest money in it. But that's wrong. Like I said, that's wrong. I think it should be treated as any other company, because they're a public company. They have shares in the stock market. They're a publicly traded company. They should be treated as it. So, and they already have employees. That's what's crazy about it. Non-driver employees. So, I mean, they can do it for those employees. Why can't they do it for the main money makers? So, I don't get it. I agree with the making an employee, but the only downfall is that, yeah, they'll control just that big difference is to control your time that you get to work. But again, that's every other company in the United States. We don't make our schedules. Yeah, it's kind of a perk and it's different, but don't get it twisted. Don't get it confused that that's normal. We normally don't have a dictation or our own control over our schedules. That's normal. But again, it's more of a perk, but everything else is going to be the same. They're still going to screw us overpay. They're still going to mess with our time, or mess with everything else that we're doing. And we might not even get insurance, because they might mess with our times of scheduling. So we're in the same boat. At least we have a certain pay. Like I said, that's why I liked it already, because I knew it was a guaranteed bonus if I got those. And I liked it because I had to do the work, but I did that for about 8 months, and I hit every week. those numbers. So it was a predictable, easily predictable income. And that's all we want. That's simple. And with hourly pay, whatever they would have it hypothetically, that's predictable pay. That's why the majority of Americans are W-2 employees, because it's predictable. And they say it might take away from the concept of your entrepreneurship. Baloney. If you're doing it as an entrepreneur, Lyft should know that, should have already known that, and they should give you perks based on that. And they haven't yet. I think they've been established for over a decade now, and they haven't done nothing like that. They haven't tailored it to entrepreneurial type business. They don't. You get perks for gas, you get perks for maintenance, and that's it. There's some other perks that you would get for like roadside assistance, percentage off for like retails and stuff, but it doesn't say that you would get, I don't know, just something off the top of my head, 20% off Vistaprint. Vistaprint does a lot of small business signage and stuff. They don't do partnerships like that. So again, they talk about how it's an entrepreneurship type position, but they don't cater it to us. They don't put time and effort and money into what we stand for. And they say that's the majority of drivers who are, doing it on a side thing while they grow their business. They help us out, because that's what I'm doing as well, but I'm using this as a full time. So I can do both. And I still haven't seen anything. Or business cards, or something that has to do with business. Checking account for businesses. There's so many different ideas that are coming to my head little by little now, and I'm just happy to think about that off the top of my head. So that is a lot to talk about for Lyft, but that's my opinion for them. They should make them employees. Everything will be all right, and we're still going to get screwed in the long run. So there's no way around it of us getting screwed by them. So you just have to take it with a grain of salt. But if you do it full time, you might get something ahead. And depending on how much you save and how much you need, makes a big difference. We're a frugal family. We don't need to spend a lot. So it works for our dynamic. Some people need to spend, $3,000-$4,000 a month. And you might make that much. So you're probably break even or even less. So watch out for that. Like I said, it's not for everyone, but it's a good career if you make it. But I wouldn't even call it career. I would say about less than 10 years tops. By 10 years, we're going to have driverless vehicles. Lyft is going to go to a whole other direction. They don't need us. That's why they don't want us to put us as employees. I mean, it's all on the wall right now. The writing's on the wall. They have an idea later on, and it just looks like they won't need us. So know that, though. Again, business is business, so I get it. So use that to your advantage. How do I, go into another career? How do I know it's a great job, and I don't care what people say. They say, it's not as good, whatever. Money's money. And to me, as long as you can provide for your family, everything else is just noise. Doesn't matter. As long as it's legal and ethical, that's all that matters. So next one is Gatesville teacher, woman at home. Oh, yeah. So there's this lady that I picked up, and she's a teacher. She has a daughter that's like 20 years old, I think. But she mentioned that there's a way that you can remember things by just breathing. She was telling me some things, but also at home. She was a big proponent to women staying at home and teaching their kids. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? And she even talked about women staying at home and cooking and cleaning and doing the laundry, everything. And I'm like, but wait a minute, the society tells women that that's bad. That's not good. And it just brought delight to me, because a true woman that understands the concept of the family, washing dishes, washing laundry, and cooking has nothing to do with you doing work just for doing that. What I mean by that is there's a whole other meaning of just cooking. There's a whole other meaning of just washing clothes. There's a whole other meaning of just washing dishes. And that meaning is loving your family. That is so big. And we always talk about how, oh, it's a lot of work. Yeah, it is work. And a lot of times it's a sacrifice, because a lot of times even half or more than half of what you're doing is for another person. Obviously you eat too, so part of it is about you, but the majority of the time you do it for your kids, you do it for your husband. And then if guest comes over, maybe you do it for them. So half or more than half of the time you won't receive what you're doing. So why are you doing that? And it's just basic answer: love. It shows love. This intangible love that we can give to people by those things. So, for example, if you had an opportunity to show to your family or to your spouse that you love them, would you do that? And I would like to say the answer is yes, you would do it. Well, good. There's three ideas that you can do it: cooking, cleaning, and washing dishes. There you go. Nothing more, nothing less. That's how you show love. Bottom line. And she understood that. She was like, yeah, it's caring for your family. And then you got to ask yourself, because obviously a lot of people say no to that, because they think of that selfish concept. Well, what am I getting out of this? I'm not getting nothing. And God forbid, there are many, many men who are jerks that don't give them that recognition, don't give that love back. So yeah, after some time I can get it. I can understand it. That you just feel hopeless, that no one brings back that love, because we all want love. That's what it is. And that's the concept of it. So that lady was really, really great. I told her about my wife, what she does, and she was like, bless her. She said she is a wonderful woman. She doesn't think about herself. And the concept of love is it will come back tenfold. You know, to receive is to give. So it's my job to show that I love her. It's my job to show that I care for her. And I would sacrifice time and labor. And I'm doing that by working. And she doesn't have to. Are we millionaires? No. Are we thousandaires? Maybe. But that's how it is. And we just don't think of it. We just think, oh, it's crappy work. When I think of work, I think of, okay, I'm doing this so she stays at home and cares for our children. Because no one in the world, I don't care what teacher, what in school you have, what type of college education you have, I don't care. None of that. Or profession, or the only thing, and even experience, if you're a mother already, it doesn't matter. Your biological parents are going to love you more than anyone else in the world. Let me repeat that. Doesn't matter what title you have, doesn't matter if you already are a parent, your biological parents are going to love you more than anyone in the world. So you ask yourself, well, who do you want to take care of your kids? If it's not, the person that will care and love you more than anyone else in the world, then who? So that's my take on it. That biological parents will love them. Something inside of us will love them more than anything else in the world. So that's how it is. And I think we take advantage of that. We underestimate it. We think, okay, let me take them to a child care. You supplement your caring and loving of your kids to that. It's like having a call center. And it's, outsourced. You're outsourcing your love and care for your kids, and you're raising them up to professionals. I don't know about you, but again, it doesn't matter if you're a professional or not. I've seen it many times. My wife's seen it many times when she was in getting your associates for child care development is just a different feeling. It's just a job. At the end of the day, it is. And if you think of it more as a job, that's too much, because as a professional, you don't have one or two or three, or average kids here. Average family has about 3 to 4 kids in America. So it's not just your immediate family. You're taking care of a whole book of families because you're a professional. That's what you have patients. They're not kids of yours. They're patients of yours. So with all that respect I give you, yes, for that profession, but at the end of the day, you cannot raise and care for them, and you shouldn't have to. But even if you want to, you cannot do the same job as biological dad or father. Now, if you think about the biological father or mother, if they don't love their kids, it's a whole different story, because that's very real in today's world. That's worse. But if you have just a simple ounce of love that will trump, no pun intended, or that will overweight all the other professionals that think they can take care of your children. Even just a small ounce of love. Just a small ounce of love. And people just don't have that either. Parents don't have that, because there's evil in the world. And it's sad. And again, we got to go back to praying them. So, crazy. So let's go to another one. It was about 9 o'clock. So, just to end on that part, I loved it. That lady was wonderful. She pat me on the back, hypothetically. She just said, thank you so much. You're doing a great job. You're working hard, and your wife is working hard. Your kids are going to be totally different. They just are. They're going to respect you more. They're going to love you more. That unconditional love that you give them throughout these years, it will come back tenfold. And they will be different children compared to ones that just, even if they're in the household, they have the same parents. Again, if you don't care about your kids, you can say you love them all you want. But if you're on your phone, if you do work over caring for them all these years, they're going to feel that you don't care. And you are in their lives, but you just are not caring. So that happens too. That happens a lot more than normal now. So it's crazy. So truly take time and play with your kids. Take time on just your bonding time. You will not get nothing out of it right then and there, but it will be a foundation of love over the years that your kids will remember when they get older and they see, wow, my dad spent time with me. And then if you say, well, how do we show that? Well, take a picture. I think we have phones that take pictures. So use that time, because it goes by very quick. I battle it every day. Should I be on my phone or should I watch them? And sometimes I'm thinking about being on my phone. And I thank God so many times that thought in my head, that little spark of energy saying, no, go and play with your kids. And it's a beautiful feeling. I tell you what, it's a beautiful feeling. YouTube can wait, and it will always wait. So that's my take on it. 20 years old father, hospital. Oh, yeah, girlfriend. So picked up this kid at the hospital, just got a baby boy, and everything looked good, but he left the hospital, and long story short, I took him to a hotel, and he called his friend and said, hey, I'm here, and we passed a policeman. He was on the other side of the same hotel, but on the other side there, and he was like, yeah, hey, man, I'm here, and he was like, what car you're in? I was like, okay, I see you. There's a cop car on the other side. He's like, oh, and then he was like, okay. So that's all I heard from him. I didn't hear the other person. And that was it. And I was like, okay, well, congratulations again. Have a good one. So that was weird. And it looked like a punk kid. Not the passenger, but the guy that met up with the passenger. He looked like a punk kid. The passenger looked pretty young too. Obviously 20 years, he said. So in between that, we were chatting, and yeah, I mean, I tell him about it, and I told him, even if it's your girlfriend or your wife, care for them both. Love them both, because A lot of things can happen where you don't care about your girlfriend later on. And he was like, no, man, I love her. I'm going to be with her. And I'm like, it doesn't matter, man. Right now, nothing can break you guys right now. You are in heaven right now. You just created a human being. It's the most powerful feeling, other than drinking coffee with honey, that you could have. It's crazy. So I'm like, you're not going to be tempted at all to see another girl or to mess around with another girl or to leave your girlfriend with your child. You're just not. It's just, that's science. So I said later on, a month, 2, 4 months, 4 years, 5 years if you get that far, is going to come. And I'm saying at that time, then you got to fight, because it will come hard. It will come right to you and say, hey, here's another girl. Hey, you're mad at your girlfriend. Hey, you hit your kid. You just don't care about your child anymore because they cry a lot, or they just stop crying, or you just get mad at them because you have to take care of them instead of going out and doing guys' night, and your guys are making fun of you. Oh, you got a kid, haha, you don't have time anymore, and there's a couple hot girls coming over, you can't do it, haha, she's laying you down, or she's keeping you down. All this stuff can happen in your head. He was like, yeah, well, thank you. To be honest, he didn't care the way he's responded. But hey, I did my part. That's all I can do. I'm not here to force him. I'm here to tell him that there's a whole other side of being with someone. And if you truly want to be with someone for 40, 50 years, find that ultimate happiness that no one can take away, you're going to have to work at it. It's simple. People do it for work. People do it for the careers, for their sports careers. They go through, pass all the hurdles, all the barriers to find that ultimate happiness. And to be honest, it's not happiness at all, because they keep going. We're made to keep going. If we pass one goal, we gotta set the next one. We're never happy, never settle, all this stuff. But the love that I'm talking about, once you get to that point where you just, and it can be 1 year, it can be 1 day. It's just that peace, like, wow, like, I'm truly happy where I'm at right now. It's the most beautiful feeling ever. The most beautiful feeling ever. That you just almost want to cry sometimes. And yes, men, I'm talking to you. Men can cry because we are all human. We have emotions. But that doesn't stop us from being a man and being responsible, taking care of our family. So there's a difference. And looking good. So it is crazy how all that goes about to young families. And yes, I get it. A lot of older people say, well, and I'm not saying like 60, 70. I'm talking about close to 40, 50. So your mid-older ages. A lot of people in that age range have told me when I'm at Lyft is that kids are raising kids. I keep hearing that phrase. And it's so true. It's so true. But it happens. Again, we're not perfect in this world. So what do we do? And that's why I want to just share that knowledge. Like, hey, what's done is done. If you want to go to confession, if you want to talk to God more on your personal time, do it. But what's done is done. You have to be a man now. And that doesn't mean to marry the woman right away, because we've seen that. If there's no love, I forgot the 3 requirements of having a Catholic marriage is, I know 2 of them. I forgot the 3rd one. But one is you have to raise them in the Catholic Church. And 2 is the big one. You have to be free to marry. No one can be forced. And the 3rd one, I forgot. I forgot the 3rd one. But it's very similar to raising them up in the Catholic Church. But those are 3 requirements. And one of them you have to do right then and there, which is be free. And if you just do a shotgun wedding, you're not free. You have to do it because of a child. Well, I'd rather you learn and care about your girlfriend more and more, and then maybe at the time, then marry, because you're free now. But just because you had a one-night stand or a couple night stands and I hate saying you're stuck in this position, because you're never stuck in this position, but you have this opportunity, rather, to love another human being that you created, and another human being that's connected to that human being that you helped create. I mean, it's a beautiful feeling, but you just got to learn more and more. And yes, I believe that. If you don't get married and have the child and still be committed to that woman just because of that small ounce of love that you are connected to her through this wonderful child, and you love this child, I'm telling you, that circle of love will be so powerful, and is going to be a viral love that she will feel it too, and you'll feel it too, and you will freely decide to get married. I believe that 100%. We just don't take that commitment. We don't take that next step saying, okay, I'm going to be responsible, take care of my child. And maybe I'll love you, maybe I don't, but I'm going to give you all the care and love that I have from just being another human being to another one. And I'm going to spruce it up just a little bit more because you helped me create this wonderful child that I truly love. It's powerful. It's powerful. So that's one thing. And God, please watch over him, because that child in Houston, if you look it up, Malia Bass in Houston, they even got her name wrong. I looked up Marlia, but I think it's Malia Bass in Houston, 2-year-old. They found dead in the river. And they said the parents are suspects. Believe it. People do evil things. Doesn't matter if they're parents or not, because they don't let that love come into them. They have it, but they don't accept it. And it's sad. It's very sad. So please be mindful that those are innocent children, innocent human beings. And the spouse or the partner that you're with, whether you're a girl or whether you're a guy, your partner that you made that child with is a human being too. And at one point, you guys had consensual intimacy, consensual sex. So there's one point that you truly care about each other, even if you do it for selfish reasons. You like that person somehow. Even if you're drunk. Remember they said drunks tell the truth? So there's some point that you truly care about that person. Maybe it's a fake or a temporary love, but please, you're in this situation already. Please love someone, because it will be better. You will change a generation, truly. Again, that might not be advantageous to someone that doesn't care about the future or the next generation, but it speaks volumes. So that's another one. The other one is credit card world of business. Whew, I think I'll end with this one because this may take a couple minutes. So as I'm learning about having bad credit and being a financial advisor, you learn a couple things in the financial world. Number one is credit card companies are just that, companies. They're not going to help you with their credit. They're not going to help you establishing. They're helping you to get more credit. That's their main deal. They may say they help you, but all they're doing is clearing that up so you can make more purchases on credit. So their companies continue, and it's a cycle. There are companies, your credit card companies. It can be a bank. It can be separate from a bank, but mostly they're banks. They give these credits out to people, and it's a lot. I got $3,000 at the age of 23 to Men's Warehouse. And you bet you I took advantage of it. And how many of those clothes now that I have? Nothing, because I gained weight. I have too many of them, and I wanted a perfect size. So hence I started a business of custom-made suits. So I don't need them anymore. But I spent $3,000 and I never paid them back. I have about, I think, $15,000 in debt, and that's nothing. And that's just in credit cards. There's some people that have over $40,000 in just credit cards, let alone student loans. And I'm learning about the credit world. And let's just ask ourselves, what is credit cards? Like, what is it? What does that mean? Or what's your credit score? Okay? So first off, the credit card is just money given you on a loan. You pay extra, which is interest, and you have a set date in the future to pay it all off. And you can pay it all at once, or you can pay monthly that they have. That's credit. The credit score is a measurement to show how reliable are you to pay back money to John Doe. Because another John Doe comes in and wants to give you money, and they want to know, okay, were you nice and fair to all the other John Does? Have you paid all those other John Does left? Let me see what you've done in your life. That's all what it is. And what are the top 3 things that you need for credit that most likely you don't have money for to pay off front? Because that's what it is. If you have cash, who cares about credit? Remember that. If you have cash, and I'm not talking about dollar, like physical dollar bills. I'm just talking about cash in your checking account, like liquid money. If you have liquid cash in your checking account, you don't need to care about your credit, and you don't need things on credit. It's just common sense. But the top 3 things that you really need, that most likely it's hard to buy and it's hard to save for because it's large items, but again, that you need. And I asked this to many people, and you'd be surprised how many people say the wrong 3 items. One guy said jewelry. I'm like, good Lord. I'm like, you don't need jewelry. Okay. But the 3 things that you need and most likely is hard to save for is a house. House is a lot. You can't get one in a bad area less than 70 grand. And that's real cheap. But an average one is about 200 grand here. And it can go higher than that. I don't know about you, but average American doesn't even have $10,000 saved in a checking account by the age of 40 to 45. So it's going to be most likely you're not going to be able to have that money to buy a house up front. Hence, they have mortgages. That's a whole other story, but they're connected to credit as well. So if you have money for a house, you don't need credit. But again, that's very hard to get. A house or a car is the next one. If you don't have money for a car, again, you can buy a cheap one for $1,000, or average one I've been looking for right now myself, so I know a little bit about it, is about $10,000, $11,000. You can get a good, reliable car that will last at least 10 to 15 years. But again, $10,000, $11,000 is a lot of money to pay up. And again, average American doesn't have even that saved. So, and the other one is a dollar loan. So instead of asking for your buddy down the street, hey, can I have $1,000? I'm not talking about a couple $100. I'll pay you later. No, I'm talking about $1,000 or $2,000 line of credit. So God forbid you get in an accident. God forbid you break your leg or anything like that. And most likely in your insurances you have deductibles. That'll cover that. So again, $2,000 or more line of credit. And again, you don't have that much, most likely, so that's a good amount to have. But those are 3 things that you need. You need to live somewhere, whether it's an apartment or anything, but you need that. And again, people settle for apartments, which is perfectly fine. But if you want to purchase anything, as far as a house, you have to pay for that, for a car, and a loan that's more than $2,000. What if you have all that? What if you happen to be in a situation where your parents inherited a house that your parents had? So you don't need that anymore. You don't need to care about credit. In my situation, I negotiated. It was really cool. I did a lot of work, but I had to tell people, hey, my credit's bad. Here's some money up front. Take it or leave it. A lot of people said no. I think over 50 people said no. One person said yes. That's all you can do. And now we live in a house. We're renting it. Who cares? We're renting it. We have a house under our head. I don't need to care about a home anymore because we have a home. And I thank God so much because I call this divine mercy. God says it's just another day in the office. It's crazy what he does. My credit, no one accepted me at all. I have at that time under a 500, so it was like 480 something credit score, which is real bad. And again, I blame that on my stupidity as a young person. Would I ever go and spend $3,000 on credit at a retail store, men's retail store, I would never do that again. But I was 23, I got excited, and there you go. So it's crazy. So we have that. The car. It's a lot of easier times that you can get a car now. Like I said, you can settle for a junky one for, $1,000 or $2 or $1,000 or $2,000, or you can. A lot of times they don't care about your credit as long as you have some money down, $400, $500 down. They will give you a vehicle that's about that $11,000 to $12,000 range. So they're giving away cars right now. It's crazy because there's so many cars out in the U.S. There's so many dealerships. You walk down the street of any of your main street right now in your city or in your town, and I bet you will find at least one used car dealership. There's money to be made, but at the same time, it's hard. There's a lot of competition, but there's so much supply. They just are trying to push up the demand. So that's the other thing. And then plus with Tesla, with all these new innovative ideas, who knows, gas vehicles might not even be available in 20 years. So they have so much of a surplus that people are doing, or people are having. So most likely they can give you a vehicle with bad credit. And third one, let's say you have a good friend that makes a lot of money that can give you $2,000, $3,000. You may have to sign a contract, say, hey, I'll pay you this amount. But out of their good friendship, they don't really look at your credit. So those are three things that you can combat credit. Then at the same time, who cares? There are people that kill themselves over having bad credit. There are people that go into depression because they cannot get a loan, or they cannot get a car, they cannot get a acceptance from apartments or even owning a house. It's real. People will get depressed. People will get violent. People will kill themselves. It's real because it's money. It is very dangerous with money. I even thought about just giving up too many times. And I'm talking about giving up, like leaving my family. And it's a dangerous and dark side to think about it. But man, the only thing that helped me was God. I'm telling you, if I had water right now, I'll throw them on my face so I can cry right now. Because I might not even need the water. It's a beautiful feeling that, okay, I still remember to this day that moment when I was in North Austin and I knew I had no money and rent's due and they're about to kick us out. What do? I just said, okay, God. And I said this crying in my car by myself, going to a pizza place to work to make some money. It's like, okay, God, this is it. I'm giving my life to you. I don't know what to do. Please, I don't know what to do. There's a lot of bad thoughts in my head saying you're not worth being a man. You're not a man because you don't provide. All these things. And my wife was totally different the way she thought. She lifted me up. And like I said, I was weak. But man, I kept going. Somehow things happened well. I don't know how we did it. Again, I say my professionalism, but he guided me on how I spoke to people and how I presented myself. And there, like I said, over 50 people I tried. I went on Airbnb because they don't check. Like you have different ideas. Like you don't want to quit. That was part of me that I love about me. When times went tough, I did not want to quit. I may have lost, but I would never quit. So it's crazy how, you keep going. And I only have to thank God for that. Because he was the one that created my wife to make her think like that, to help me. And like I said, it was crazy. And somehow we got a beautiful house that was more than what we thought. And there was an apartment duplex that we couldn't afford. And this house, it's been about a year, and we were always behind on the duplex before. But now here, we never been more than 3 days late for over a year of renting. And this was about $225 more than the other duplex, which was smaller. I don't get it. Somehow we did it. Somehow. And it's beautiful, And like you said, it's crazy. So to me, and I still struggle with this to this day. I was rejected by a car. I told you about a car company. They basically are giving cars away. They didn't give it away for me. I got so mad, but I kept going. And now I'm able to have a vehicle. They accepted me if I put a little bit more money down. They accepted me. So hopefully I'll have a new vehicle here in about a week. So it's crazy, and I get lower payments. So it's unbelievable how things happen in this world. Don't ever stop. Just continue, and believe me, it will be worth the fight. So that was the biggest thing about, how credit comes about, because it affects your personal life. Who cares? Like I said, as long as you have those things, who cares about credit? People are going to call you. They're going to say, they're going to bother you. And they actually make laws now. Back in about 10 years ago or 15 years ago, they were vicious. They would call your job. They would embarrass you, saying that you owe this much money. Why would you do it? Look up YouTube about them. Now they have laws because there are people that kill themselves over those phone calls. So the law had to step in and make a law, or the lawmakers had to step in because it was killing people. So now it's actually easier. They cannot take you to jail. They cannot harass you at your job or elsewhere. But they can call you all the time and say this is a debt collector. Believe me, I know. And it's just like telemarketers. Treat them like, and I always joke with my wife, get in line. And then the reason why I don't care about owing, and people should not care about it either, two things. One, by 7 years, they'll get off of your credit. And if you talk to them once and describe something about, let me see about my payment plans, they will start that time over again. You have to wait 7 years again. So don't even answer the phone. Say you're Jason or you're Michael. Well, I got the wrong number. Or I play around sometimes. I'm like, this is Angela. How can I help you? So it's just fun. You mess around with her, you have a good time, whatever. But you don't do it at all. And I know it looks bad, right? Oh, you don't pay your bills. You don't do this. Who cares? Because you know why? Let's say you have it at Wells Fargo. You got a Wells Fargo card, $10,000. You didn't pay. You feel bad. But this guy right here says, who cares? Get in line. And it's not because I don't want to pay. It's because I have to choose between paying my credit cards or paying my family necessities. Your food, your rent, your utility bills. Sorry, but you're not in front of those. And you think, oh my gosh, what is a bad person? You don't pay your bills. If I had the money, I'll pay it. Simple as that. Do people make mistakes? Yeah. But I do not feel bad at all. 0%. Let me tell you why. Wells Fargo says, you owe me $10,000. I'm calling you every day for the past 3 months. You're not answering. You know what? I'm going to put you in this category, which is called collections. They're going, my department, and it's not part of my department anymore. I don't even want you to pay me back anymore. I'm going to give it collections, and they will settle something out. I don't have time for you. So they put in that category. You're in collections. And they will try to call you a couple times, and they're going to say, you know what? We can't do it. We're still with Wells Fargo, and we're specialists at this, and they still can't give us our money. We're giving them breaks. We say, hey, you can give us this much, or you can start paying right away for a smaller amount for a longer time, whatever. And he still can't call. This Ryanico guy's not answering my calls. What's going on? I'm tired of it, Chuck. I'm going to put in another category, and they have their own side where they have a department that sells this debt. Obviously, it's debt, money owed. And Wells Fargo says, okay, you owe $10,000. We can't get $10,000. But Joe Schmo, a collections company, not within Wells Fargo, but a whole other company, they want to buy this debt because they think they can call Ryanico, and they got the best guys ever to convince them to get that money. They're even more specialists at this. I'm going to give to, what was it, Chuck I said, or Joe Schmo? What are the names? Chuck over here, he has XYZ company, collections company. They said they want to buy our debt, the $10,000 that we need money from, and I can't get Ryanico on the phone for the life of me because he's acting like a woman. trying to sell me, what do you call it, timeshares in California. I don't get it. What's going on? So I'm going to go to Chuck here. He says he's going to give me $2,000 for this. Which one's better, $0 or $2,000? You know what? I'll take it as loss. It's been so many months, almost so many years. I'll get something out of it. I can tell my bosses I've made some money out of it, and we'll call it a day. Because I got to deal with the other 1,000 other people that are going through the same thing. So let me get some money out of it. Sells it to Joe Schmo and Chuck Collections Agency. They will buy it, $2,000. And they're going to call me for about 3 months, every day for about 3 or 4 months. And I'm like, all right, guess I have to be Melissa again, or this time I'm going to be Hillbilly Bob. What's going on, buddy? I'm ready. I'm ready to give you some loving. Sir, we just want to give you an opportunity to pay this debt that you owe $10,000. We're going to make it better for you, sir. And this is Joe Schmo and Chuck Agency, and we want to give you a special discount that you pay instead of $5,000 and $10,000. We'll cut it down to a certain percentage. So now you only have to pay $6,000, sir. Will you pay this, please? And I'll say, well, what's your name, darling? Sir, I'm a man. It's okay. What's your name, darling? Sir, I don't feel comfortable, but we all don't feel comfortable at some point. Why don't you come on over here? Wait a minute. I don't like you boys. Do you have a daughter? I didn't pay attention to you at all. So you said you're a man? That's weird. I like women. You got a cousin? What's your name again? And they will get mad over time. They say, you know what? I'm trying for months. Asking this guy, I'm even giving him a discount how much he owes, 10 grand. Now he owes only 6 grand. I can't do nothing with that. It's been 4 months. He's trying to date my cousin. I don't even have a cousin. It's like, dang it. So they are going to go to a lawyer. Because think about this. You believe it or not, there are law firms that are only there to collect money from credit card debt and other debt. Look it up. It's crazy. There's so much business to be made and money to be made off of just one person's debt. So now the third person, you know what? I'm a specialist. I'm going to give it to a lawyer that says he's even a better specialist. So I paid this for $2,000. You know what? Let me get half of that. Let me get $1,000 off of this. And he goes to a lawyer and says, okay, there's already 2 steps from it, or two layers. The original credit card company couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because I thought I can do it. My team thought we can do it. We can't do it. Let's go to, what will be the lawyer's name? Liar Law Firm. Liar Law Firm. How about that? Schmuck Law Firm. So I went to Mr. Schmuck at Liar Law Firm saying they're specialists at this. They actually are lawyers. I don't even know what lawyers are, but apparently it helps in court. I'm just here to collect money, and I can't do it, so I'm a failure. I'm going to give this money or this debt to another place, but they're a law firm. Let me call Joe Schmo or Joe Schmuck over here. And they will say, you know what? I'll take care of this guy. I'm going to threaten him in court. I'm going to take him to court. I'm going to say all these legal jargon to scare the heck out of them. And I will get that money. But it's going to be at a price. I'm only going to pay you $1,000. He's like, what? All right. He was like, I paid $2,000 for it. I can't get nothing out of it. I'll give you $1,000. It's something. It's better than nothing. So I give it to Joe Schmuck at Liar Law Firm, and they will call me again for 3 months. They're going to send me letters in the mail. You're going to jail, or not jail, sorry. Forget about jail because that's illegal to take your jail over credit card on debt. But they will threaten me with I don't know, what do you call it, court date, all this stuff. Be my guest. You won't show up there, have a judgment, they call it. It's basically a fancy word saying now you have to pay them, or it will go on your record. Doesn't matter because it doesn't show as a criminal record at all, and you cannot go to jail because of credit card debt, and the record that they mentioned is literally nothing because you can't go to jail for it. So they just scare you with that. It's just basically saying in the court's records, not your record. In the court's records, it just shows that you owe this money and by law you have to pay this, or just that's it. It's crazy. There's really no way that they come after you after that. So what do? They realize, okay, I can't scare them with the court date or anything. I already got a judgment on them. And I tell them that they can actually, I lowered it. $4,000. We're throwing you a bone. Pay $4,000 for it. You owe $10,000. Now we only want $4,000. Knowing that they are going to make $3,000 from it. And they already earned the hole because they probably spend another $500-$600 on court fees. So all that's done, it may be a couple years, and that's how it is. Why do you think they chose 7 years for it? Not a couple months. It takes a whole process. And they can call you at 6 months because they have the date of when you last made a purchase. And they know their time is running out. So they're going to check, okay, what's going on with this? Let's give them the best discount ever. And they could just talk to you about it and write it down. And that time goes back to zero again. So you have to do 7 years again. So again, don't answer anything. Don't. And I know you feel bad inside. Who cares? People are making money off your debt somehow. So don't feel bad about it. It's all business. And if you feel bad, there's so many people say, oh, well, I never have debt. I shouldn't have any debt. Well, things happen. Simple as that. Stupidity happens or necessity happens. That you need credit, you need things that you just can't pay off. That's the world of business, or that's the business world of credit. Who cares? If you have the means to pay it, pay it. But in reality, there's a lot of times you don't have the means to pay it. Don't care, or you should not care about it at all. You got to care about your family. You got to care about the utility bills, things that are important in your life. And it's hard to say that, but you got to have a FU attitude and say, okay, I know what's more important right now. Am I going to, I call it poop bricks, or another word of poop. Am I going to, go crazy over this? That they don't care. They're not knocking on your door. The police are not knocking on your door. Now, the police or the sheriff's department will knock on your door if you have an eviction. That's important. They can kick you out of your house legally. So all these things, you gotta look at. They will repo your car. You cannot feed your kids. All these things if you don't have the money up front for certain things. So take that as a priority. What's more of a priority? Credit cards, again, it serves a purpose. If you have the opportunity to pay it, pay it. But if you can't, who cares? You got to think smart. You got to think like a business person. Say, they are making money somehow. Believe me, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, you name it. Capital One, American Express, they are doing good without you. Don't worry. They are going to make their money because they're very, very smart business people. And like I said, I just mentioned 3 layers of it. There are probably 4 or 5 layers of it that they keep selling your debt. I got a letter in the mail that a law firm in New Jersey has my debt of what was it? There was $4,000, a Walmart credit card. Someone in New Jersey. And it says law firm. And again, they can't take me to jail. So they just think that will be scared. They said, do you have options? Please call this. I ain't calling nobody unless it's Billy Bob. Want to talk to your cousin. It's not going to work. So don't feel bad about it. If you have a chance to pay it off, pay it because that's the right thing to do. If you don't, the right thing to do is the next step is take care of your family. Or take care of yourself if you don't have a family. Simple as that. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel bad about it at all because cash is power. Well, how do you think I was able to get a house? Renting a house. By cash. They didn't even care about my credit score because I gave them enough cash. So I'd rather you, if you know you cannot make a payment and you're just paying $30 just to try to stay alive, forget about it. Let it go in default. Let it do its process. They will take care of it. You might get a lot of phone calls. Who cares? Put it on silent. You can even block calls now like that. So who cares? You can save that money and use that money to something between those three big necessities. Or if you have those already, start saving. Because that money is going to be more important to you. And in 7 years, people don't think about 7 years from the future. My brother-in-law filed for bankruptcy. 7 years later, they have close to $300,000 house. So this does not defy you. This does not define you at all. So forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it. So again, I like the world of business, or the business world of credit. It's crazy. It's a sneaky job. People talk about it could be related to racism. I don't think so. I think it's just classism. Again, it has nothing to do with class, or it has nothing to do with racism. It's all about with classism. Now, I don't know why. People just want to be higher up than others. And again, it could be within races too. A black person wants to be be a higher class than another black person. And vice versa with the Mexican, with an American, a white guy, whatever. There's always different classes that you want to be higher than the other. And that's wrong. But I believe in it because it happens. So hope you guys have a great day. That's the end of it. I'm going to say a prayer here. I think I finished this book of that page and a half, so that's good. I'm going to bring the green book that I have here, and we will get going. Let me see here. For divine guidance through the day. But if you guys have any questions, leave a comment there. Share this video if you can. Like I said, I want to talk more about the news and everything. And today is just, I had a great time already, but have a lot more stories to tell. So I might push that a little bit more than the news, and I'll get back with the current news. But like I said, I just like talking about that credit side of it. So don't worry. I think that's everything I want to say, but it's pretty crazy how that works. So I would ask that believe in God, that God will take care of you. God will be there with you, and then think like a business person, and you feel better because it's just business. There's nothing wrong with having debt. I mean, America has debt. The richest people have debt. So don't care about it. They don't sweat over it. Why should you? Care about what's important in your lives. Your family, your loved ones, everyone that is around you, especially your immediate family. I'm telling you, everything will be good. And that's the way it is. And maybe when you do save, and who knows, may open up a business or have a good job, you're able to save. And yeah, if you open up another credit card, because by that time, 7 years will pass most likely, so you have no debt at all, then you start out at zero. Then you look like a wonderful person. Your credit score will slowly go up. It's like, wow, you've done good. And it works. It's crazy. I did that already within 2 years. Our car got repoed, and about 2 years later, I just got accepted for a vehicle. They didn't care. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's all business. That's all what it is. And my credit score went up little by little because we just haven't bought anything on credit. Because I'm learning more. Again, you just learn things as you get older. And I thank God that I learned that. And that's why I really enjoyed working at Edward Jones, because you learn about finance, you learn about investments, you learn about being a business owner, how that works, what are the costs that entails in anything that you have to do with business. So wonderful career. If you have an opportunity, do it. Whether it's with Edward Jones, but in the financial world, it's pretty neat. It's dog eat dog world out there, but if you have a chance to do it, especially when you're young. It's a great career. And I'm just saying in general in financial advisory industry. And I wish I get paid by someone to talk about that, but I don't. So that's what I'm saying in general. But I enjoy me personally. I worked for Edward Jones, wonderfully loved it. So would have done it again, but now, like I said, it takes more risks now. And if you're younger, you have more risk to take because you don't have a lot of family. You can do more risks, essentially. I am going to read through the guidance through the day. Lord God Almighty, you have brought us safely to the beginning of this day. Defend us today by your mighty power, that we may not fall into any sin, but that all of our words may so proceed and all of our thoughts and actions be so directed as to be always just in your sight. Through Christ our Lord, amen. Direct, we beg you, O Lord, our actions by your holy inspirations, and carry them on by your gracious assistance, that every prayer and work of ours may begin always with you, and through you be happily ended. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Hope you guys have a wonderful, Tuesday? Enjoy your week, and hope everyone has a wonderful day. God bless.